Hi, I'm Lee. I'm a New Zealander who lives in the East Riding of Yorkshire, and this is a podcast episode about socks. You can find me on Instagram as Louleigh_, on Ravelry as Louleigh, and I sell knitting patterns on Ravelry and sewing patterns on Etsy. You can find links to all of my online places at louleigh.com. I have been recording some segments over the last few weeks about my sock knitting because that's pretty much all I've been doing, and so I have cobbled them together into one episode and I hope you enjoy it. Hi, I'm in the greenhouse today. It's been a bit drizzly and I've done some jobs, and I was just thinking about pulling out my knitting and having a little relax up here in the greenhouse. But I also remembered that some of you had said that you were keen to see the allotment again and to see how things were going. We've had some success and some less success. So yeah, I thought I would just show you around. Probably best to start on this side because the tomatoes always look really good. Down here, around here, and if I hold it up there you might be able to see a bit better. We've got a cucumber back there. I just got a massive cucumber off it. I think my allotmentarian chum hadn't realised that there was this huge thing growing behind. So yeah, and I have just finished repotting over here. These are aubergines and peppers just there, and of course we still have some seedlings. I don't know that I'm doing a good job of it. You can tell I don't do this very often. Some seedlings back here that are still just starting off. I planted some flowers with a friend the other day, some echinacea and some borage and things, so that's really exciting. It was something that she'd not done before, so that was really good fun. I'm going to see if I can put this down somewhere and I'll tell you about the sock that I'm knitting. I have really dirty hands and fingernails, so I probably have no business knitting, but when I'm just knitting with what I would call a bog standard sock yarn like opal or West Yorkshire spinners or this Lang yarwool, I tend to not be too bothered because I know that I can wash them before I wear them quite easily, and it's just a bit of soil really, and it's quite nice to sit down in between jobs at the allotment and have a little knit. So my sock drawer has been looking a bit tired. Got lots of those well loved kind of felty fluffy socks that used to be beautiful colours, but then I went and wore them in my Wellingtons and they were never quite the same again. And I decided that I wanted some socks that actually went with things that are in my wardrobe and were actually just a little bit smarter to wear to work as well, because my socks are something that often kind of visible, and so I just wanted some smart socks. And I find the socks that I wear the most and reach for the most are just made out of those workhorse sock yarns. I think I've had one pair of Regia socks for going on 10 years now. So, and I do keep wearing them and enjoying them, and they still look really good. They don't seem to need any sort of repair. And so I thought that I bought myself a little swag of different colours of the Louleigh wool, which I think I've shown you before, and just thought that I would top up my sock drawer with a couple of new pairs. So this is, I probably have no business starting another pair of socks, but I was chatting to a friend on the phone the other night and just needed something really easy to put on my needles, and decided to start this pair of socks. I forget the exact name of the colour that I'm using in this yarn, but it is more of my Louleigh wool stash, which has come recommended. And I'm knitting my socks with holes in pattern. I put out a few years ago a simple socks collection, and these were all the patterns that I kind of just, you know, when you start a sock and you think, oh, I'd like this to be just a bit fancy, and so you just throw on a little stitch pattern, whatever tickles your fancy and just happens to pop in your brain at the time. And socks with holes in was one of those stitch patterns. I think I did it first as a Christmas Eve cast on. I just thought that I wanted my socks to be slightly fancier, and so as I was talking on the phone I was doing exactly the same thing. I didn't need to go back to the pattern or anything like that. It was just one that sticks in my head quite easily. It has a rest row because I like a rest row when I'm knitting socks, even if the stitch pattern is quite simple and straightforward. And I thought that I would like a slightly lacy pair of socks in my sock drawer. As I say, I have that many pairs of socks on the go, and I am trying to finish the samples for the socks from the Allotment collection. So I probably have no business casting on a new pair of socks, but sometimes you just have to do what pleases you. I don't know if you can hear that. I just heard this sort of sudden clatter and falling, and the dogs raced off to see what it was, and it was cheeping like a baby bird. So I think it is a baby bird that has fallen out of something. Fortunately my animals cannot get to it, it's on the neighbour's plot, and so hopefully Mum might be able to rescue it. I couldn't actually see the bird, but there's nothing that can get to it. It's in amongst some plants on the neighbour's plot. So as long as my dogs are kept well clear, I'm going to let nature take its course. I've just finished work for the day and I'm about to pop out and go for a walk, but I thought before I did that I would tell you about the other pair of socks that I have been working on and just really enjoying picking up again. You've actually seen these socks before, although if you don't remember that's fair enough because it was quite some time ago. I test knitted for Marceline Smith, who is Hay Brown Berry. I tested her Rest and Rejuvenation socks. Rest and Restoration socks, the R&R socks. And I did finish the first sock there. And I have just been picking up and working on the second sock, and I am so pleased to be back working on these socks because one of the things I really enjoy about this pattern is the interplay of the colours in this really simple stitch pattern. If you've got a couple of partial balls of yarn then that you think might coordinate together, then this would be a really fun pattern to use it for. I think you could do so many fun things with the way that the yarns interact together. You probably could even, I think it would even look nice if you knitted it in one plain yarn, or if you had a variegated yarn and you just knitted the whole sock with that one variegated yarn. I just think it's a really simple stitch pattern that would be exciting in a lot of different yarns. I'm using two different ones, obviously, because that was what the pattern called for. I'm using, this one is Eden Cottage Tempo 4-ply in the Hedgerow colourway. It's that browny colour. I really like this as a neutral. I think it's quite a pretty brown. And this one is a Socks Year yarn by Coop Knits, and the colourway is Argon, this neon orange. Yeah, so that is the other pair of socks that I just keep pulling out and having a little tinker away at every now and again. It's been a little while since I spoke to you last and made the last clip, and so it's really nice just to sit down and be back chatting with you again. I'm going to show you my next sock, which is the next sock in my socks from the Allotment collection. I'm just going to give you a sneaky peek of how it's coming out. I'm really pleased with this pattern. I'm really pleased with all these patterns. I'm going to say that a few times. This is the back, and this is a really fun pattern for using up mini skein sets or leftovers and that sort of thing, and it also has a really exciting heel construction, so I'm looking forward to telling you more about that. I had knitted a whole sock, a whole new sample of this sock, and was about to cast on the next one when I realised that I had knitted it from memory, and I knitted the original one and wrote the pattern about over a year ago and my memory apparently is not that good, so I've undone that sock and I am re-knitting this sample, and I'm really pleased with the way that it's coming out. I'm using a couple of different yarns here. So the main colour is Burnham 4-ply, and this is an Eden Cottage yarn, and the colourway is Compost, which is kind of like a mauvey browny colour, I think. Yeah, really pretty colour. I love some of the neutrals and browns that Eden Cottage do. They're just really pretty colours. And I am also using a mini skein set. Can I fit the whole thing in my hands? A mini skein set from Louleigh Family Yarns, which is really pretty as well. There's another colour as well, but you get the idea. So that's really fun too. Yeah, so that's the next socks from the allotment that I am just chipping away at. And I would have been a little bit further along had I bothered to read my own pattern. So, but I have it all printed out now in my bag, so it's all on track. Hi, it's Saturday morning and I'm just about to head out to the allotment, but I wanted to show you my new socks. So these are the ones I was talking about a few weeks ago now that I made out of Lang Yarwool, and the heels and toes are made from Signature 4-ply West Yorkshire spinners, and I've used my own pattern, which is socks with holes in, and I'm really pleased with the way that these have come out. They are so cute, if I do say so myself. I did something different with the toe because I had made the foot a little too long, so I've done toe shaping in 8 places. I don't know if you can see that. Let me actually just zoom in here. In 8 places around the circumference of the toe, and this is similar to a star toe, but I've done it symmetrically. So I've done decreases on the outside and then decreases that come in symmetrically on the inside, and I really like the way that that looks. So yeah, new socks. Can't wear them today because it's really hot, but I'm really excited to put those on next time my feet get cold. Hi, I had been recording some segments for a podcast, probably, it feels like weeks ago now. I think they might have been from last month, and I've been meaning to kind of just finish that up and tie it off so that I could get a podcast out, because I really enjoyed talking to you guys. And I realised that all I really needed to do was a community news section to let you know what's going on in the group. So we have the sock Cal running along in the group, which is just ticking over. Please pop over and join in there. That is going to continue to run until I release my socks from the allotment collection, which is just a movable feast at the moment. That's just how life is. But yeah, if you have sock whips, masses of sock whips like I do, and you want some motivation to finish those off, then please pop over to the group and join in there. The other thing that's running along is the Advent mini skein swap, and I got the most beautiful parcel from my swap buddy last week. I've got it, where's it gone? It's down here. Yeah, a really lovely parcel with some wonderful goodies in it for the mini skein swap. But of course we had adjusted the dates this year because of COVID-19, because people were in lockdown, and so I had said that the 3rd quarter would close. Is it the 3rd quarter? Yeah, would close on the 31st of August, on the last day of August. But I feel like I should give you a little bit of extra time for that, so let me just check my calendar. And because I hadn't done a podcast, and I just put the thread in the group, and I didn't want people who had been collecting mini skeins to miss out because I hadn't told you all. So okay, let's look at the calendar, and I think if we close that one on the 7th of September, I shall pair you up shortly afterwards, and then I'll set up the next swap to tie up by the end of October, so that we all have 24 mini skeins all ready for December or Advent, or just to put in whatever mini skein project you happen to be working on right now. I actually think that's probably what I'm going to do with the minis that I've just received. Yeah, I'll see. But anyway, so that is community news, and I am going to put the very old segments that I recorded earlier about the socks that I'm knitting together so that I can get something out and yeah, just, I don't know, share my knitting with you and enjoy the conversation that we always have around the things that are going on in the group. It's been really nice to chat with you. I always enjoy sitting down, the interaction that we have. I realise that recently, when I say recently, I mean this year, I've not been good at responding to comments in YouTube, but I do love that you turn up there and that you leave them. So yeah, that's all from me for now, and I shall see you next time. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like and subscribe, and I shall see you again soon. Cheerio!